I tested an eSIM with Holafly, and in this video I will tell you all about my experience, but especially the positive points I noted that might interest you, and especially the negative points, or at least those you should be aware of if you are interested in the Holafly eSIM. And at the end of this video, I will give you my final opinion, my final verdict on what I think of it and how I would rate it overall. So first of all, personally, I had the experience of using an eSIM for 15 days with unlimited data, meaning I could have unlimited internet access during those 15 days. So I will certainly show you on screen some videos I made during the installation, because the first positive point is that the installation is extremely simple and easy. You have a process that is extremely smooth. Once you have chosen and paid for your Holafly eSIM, you receive an email, and in that email you can simply scan a QR code on your phone, and you will just have to click one or two buttons to easily install your eSIM and have it quickly operational. So in this case, it's something I really appreciated, or otherwise you also have another installation process that involves doing it manually. So here I won't show you the data since it's my personal eSIM, but basically there you go, you have a QR code that you can scan quite easily, or you have a manual installation with codes. And in any case, everything is guided step by step, whether you're on iPhone or Android. So for me, the first positive point is that it's super easy to install, and it works very easily. Within a few minutes, everything is done. Second positive point, and this is significant, is that you have unlimited plans with Holafly. If, for example, I want to travel to the USA, to the United States, well, I see that it says the data is unlimited. So I just have to select the number of days I want. If, for example, I travel from the 4th to the 8th of November, I click on apply, and there I will simply have an eSIM dedicated exactly and precisely for my trip, with the number of days I need, the exact days, and with unlimited data. By the way, something else you should know, speaking of prices, I find that the prices in general are quite reasonable. And on top of that, there is something very appreciable that I managed to snag for you to find. It's simply a promo code that will allow you to save on whichever eSIM from Holafly you choose. And the promo code is simply Top Tech, that you see right here on my screen. You click on apply, and it will give you a discount that applies to all the eSIMs from Holafly. So there you go, the promo code is Top Tech, and I managed to get this for you. So take advantage of it. It's always good to save, to make savings, so take advantage of it. I will put the code in the description of this video if you're interested. And well, in this case, it's a positive point that offers us the possibility of having small discounts, even though the price is already quite attractive. There you go. And by the way, another positive point to note is that you can also share your connection, if I'm not mistaken, with the eSIM you have. So if, for example, you get an eSIM and you have a colleague or a friend or someone with you who needs internet at some point, well, you can share your connection with them, and normally, if I'm not mistaken, it will work. So that's very practical, and these are big positive points that you don't find everywhere with other eSIMs. So that's a big positive point. Now we also need to talk about other things, now some slightly more negative points, etc. But just before that, I must say that in terms of all the countries it covers, you should know that you really have almost everyone, well, the entire world covered, since you have more than 270 destinations, and you can choose a plan that covers a region or a specific country. For example, if you are traveling in several countries and you are traveling in Europe, you can take a plan for all of Europe, and so no matter which country you are going to travel to during the selected time period, you will have unlimited internet for all European countries. So that's also very, very cool. Now let's get to the slightly more negative point of what I found about Holafly and what I think is important for you to know. The first point is that you will have, well, this depends more on the countries and their restrictions, but for example, in Turkey, you will have, well, regulators in Turkey who have banned access to eSIM applications or sites. So there you go. In fact, they are trying to prevent people from bypassing their rules, which is completely normal. But on the other hand, you can still have a Holafly eSIM, for example, in Turkey if you activate it before arriving in Turkey. So actually, there will be some tips like that to consider and know in certain countries. But in any case, this will be mentioned in the email when you make your purchase. So the first point is to be careful about blockages and restrictions in certain countries, but in any case, what I can advise you is to activate it before arriving so you won't have any issues regardless of the country or the blockages. And another thing is that if you have small uses, that is, if you use it simply for example, 2 days, well, it costs you, for example, here in Turkey, €7.60. So obviously, it's not a price that is very low, but it's not a price that is very high either. That is to say, you will certainly have more profitability in the long term with an eSIM from the country in question. However, here we're really talking about having unlimited internet. So I find that the price for unlimited internet is quite reasonable, especially when we're talking about traveling. In general, we rarely travel for months and months. And if that's the case, well, they have put in place a new plan that I wasn't aware of. It's simply for those who are digital nomads or who travel a lot. You have an unlimited plan. So the advantage is that you have unlimited internet, you have tethering, you have a connection worldwide. On the other hand, the disadvantage is that it has a certain price. We're talking about $65 per month, so it's not nothing. And otherwise, you have a slightly more, light plan, as they call it, for people who need less data. There, it will be kept at 25 gigabytes of data per month. So it's something to know. And I wanted to tell you about it in case it might interest you. So now, my final Holafly verdict. What do I think? Well, I will tell you that overall, I am really very happy. It is a very solid solution for people who want to travel with an eSIM that is reliable, that works very, very well with the internet, with the connection and activation of the eSIM that is very simple. So honestly, it's easy, it's quick to use, it works very, very well. And there you go. Simply be careful depending on the areas you are in. Well, the speed can vary, so that's completely normal. And make sure to activate your eSIM before going to certain countries that may have restrictions, because otherwise, once you are there, you might sometimes not be able to do it or have difficulties. So be sure to do things correctly and carefully. Look at the instructions you receive by email. That's it. That was all for my Holafly review, and you have everything in the description of this video, the promo code to save, and I'll see you next time.